Welcome to Science Today, your number one science news station. A frightening future could be on its way, which could have disastrous effects on modern medicine. Many of the major weapons that doctors use to fight disease may soon be disarmed by the growing threat of something known as antibiotic resistance. Described by government scientists as one of the greatest threats of the 21st century, a future without antibiotics would make many operations such as cancer treatments, organ transplants, and even childbirth extremely hazardous events, like it was the days before Alexander Fleming first discovered penicillin. According to many medical experts, the world is facing an antibiotic apocalypse. To take us through this so-called antibiotic apocalypse, we have brought in a top doctor from Thammasat University to give us her insights into antibiotic resistance, why it is such a threat, and what can be done about it. So welcome to the studio, Dr. Mutita, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here.
So could we please start by trying to understand what is antibiotic resistance?
Okay, so basically, antibiotics kill bacteria, but occasionally, a few bacteria learn to beat the drugs. They find ways to survive, and ultimately, new drugs are needed to fight them. This is known as resistance. So the antibiotic no longer kills the bacteria it is used to target, and the offspring of these bacteria keep the resistance of their parents.
Okay, so the bacteria evolved to be able to survive even with the antibiotics.
Exactly, survival of the fittest, in other words. So the big problem we have is the more antibiotics that are used, the quicker the bacteria develop resistance to them. And recently, there has been a culture for doctors to prescribe antibiotics, even when they aren't 100% sure that they are actually needed. This is particularly true in developing countries, and to make matters worse, many strong antibiotics can be bought over the counter at pharmacies without the need for a doctor's prescription. So in many ways, we have brought this problem on ourselves. Another big contributor to antibiotic resistance is the use of these drugs as growth promoters in agriculture to increase profits for farmers.
Right, so antibiotics are really a victim of their own success. Okay, so what can be done about this problem? Why can't we just make new types of antibiotics to beat the bacteria?
Well, this is a very important question. But let me start by giving you an interesting fact. Do you know when the last new class of antibiotics was discovered?
I can't really say.
1987. No new classes of antibiotics for 30 years. Can you imagine? So in many ways, the bacteria are winning the war as they are moving forward, and we are stuck in the 1980s.
That seems really scary. What can be done about this? Isn't there another way to deal with antibiotic resistance?
Well, first of all, we need to change our behavior. Antibiotics are massively oversubscribed, so the first of all, we need to take fewer antibiotics by getting doctors to monitor how often they prescribe antibiotics and to question more whether they are providing the correct medicine for the right illness. This can result in fewer antibiotics being prescribed.
So, in other words, if antibiotics are only prescribed when they are really needed, it will lead to fewer antibiotics out there and less chances of bacteria gaining resistance.
Exactly. But there is still a big problem with antibiotic use in agriculture. Antibiotics make animals grow faster and have been used in farming for decades, and their use is growing. Nevertheless, countries like the Netherlands have reduced the amount of antibiotics used in farming by 60% by the use of strict measures for the government. As a result, Dutch farmers have had to make adjustments to the way they farm, and consequently, the levels of antibiotic-resistant bacteria have gone down.
So basically, if we make changes to how antibiotics are prescribed and their use in farming, we can help reduce the problem.
Yes, definitely. But the problem is that antibiotic use globally is increasing, especially in developing countries. So we still need to try to find new types of antibiotics. That means finding new sources of antibiotics. There are some exciting new places where antibiotics could be discovered. which would be new to bacteria that causes illness. Recently, scientists have searched in soil, caves, on the algae-filled fur of tree-toad sloths, and even in the saliva of Komodo dragons. Another option would be to try to attack the bacteria in different ways. One new method would be to try to disrupt the way bacteria communicate with each other so they stop attacking our immune systems.
Okay, so there are a number of other options out there. We just need to be able to outsmart the bacteria.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I'm afraid we've run out of time for now, but thank you so much for coming to speak with us, Dr. Mutita.
It has been my pleasure.